Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajagana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajagana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Gaura Pimanande Jayam Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotra Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandiviti Foundacharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Dainitai Gaur Pimanande. All glories to be assembled devotees. All glories to be assembled devotees. All glories to be assembled devotees. All glories to see Guru and to see Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Dakshuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Gita Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Syam Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanditam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Govinda Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kancana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutidevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreya Sayalokasya Dhanyam Swastyayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all successful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Om Sarabhyaya Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripat Maham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat Kripat Maham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam. Continuing from Canto number 1, chapter 16, which is entitled How Parikṣit Received at the Age of Kali. And today is text 17, which, since it doesn't have a purport, we will do text number 18, and we'll come back and read 17. So text 18. Dharmaha Padaikena Charan Vichayam Upalabhya Gam Krishati Smasru Vadanam Vivatsam Iva Mataram Dharma Padaike Nacharan Vichayam Upalabhyagam Prishchati Smasru Vadanam Vivatsam Iva Mataram Dharma Padaike Nacharan Vichayam Upalabhyagam Prishchati Smasru Vadanam Vivatsam Iva Mataram Dharma Padaike Nacharan Vichayam Upalabhyagam Prishchati Smasru Vadanam Vivatsam Iva Mataram Dharma Padaike Charan Vishayam upalabhyagam Prishtati smasru vadanam Vivatsam iva mataram
Dharma padaike nacharan
Dharma padaika charan
Vichayam upalabhyagam
Vichtatam upalabhyagam
Pritchati smasru vadanam
Prishtati smasru vadanam
Vivatsam iva mataram
Vivatsam iva mataram Dharma.
Dharmaha,
The personality of religious principles.
the personality of religious principles.
Pada,
Pada,
leg.
leg,
Ekena,
ekena,
on only one.
on only one.
Charan,
Charan,
wandering.
wandering.
Vichayam,
Vichayam,
overtaken by the shadow of grief.
overtaken by the shadow of grief.
Upalabhya,
Upalabhya,
having met.
having met.
Gam,
Gam,
the cow.
the cow.
Prishtiti sma,
Pujjati sma,
asked.
asked.
Asruvadanam,
Asruvadanam,
with tears on the face.
with the tears on the face.
Vivatsam,
Vivatsam,
one who has lost her offspring.
one who has lost her offspring.
Eva,
Eva,
like.
like.
Mataram,
Mataram,
the mother.
the mother.
So we will read first text number 17 and then the translation to 18 and the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Raghava Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Text 17. Tasaivam Vartamanasya Purvesham Vritim Anvaham Natu Dure Kilascharyam Yad Asitan Nibodhame. Translation. Now you may hear from me of what happened while Maharaja Parikṣit was passing his days hearing of the good occupations of his forefathers and being absorbed in thought of them. Text 18, translation. The personality of religious principles, dharma, was wandering about in the form of a bull. And he met the personality of earth in the form of a cow, who appeared to grieve like a mother who had lost her child. She had tears in her eyes, and the beauty of her body was lost. Thus, Dharma questioned the earth as follows. Kindly repeat after me. The personality of religious principles,
Personality of religious principles,
dharma,
dharma,
was wandering about
was wandering about
in the form of a bull.
in the form of a bull.
And he met the personality of earth
And he met the personality of earth
in the form of a cow,
in the form of a cow,
who appeared to grieve
who appeared to grieve
like a mother
like a mother
who had lost her child.
who had lost her child.
She had tears in her eyes,
She had tears in her eyes,
and the beauty of her body was lost.
and the beauty of her body was lost.
Thus, Dharma questioned the earth as follows.
Thus, Dharma questioned the earth as follows.
Purport. The bull is the emblem of the moral principle, and the cow is the representative of the earth. When the bull and the cow are in a joyful mood, It is to be understood that the people of the world are also in a joyful mood. The reason is that the bull helps production of grains in the agricultural field, and the cow delivers milk, the miracle of aggregate food values. The human society, therefore, maintains these two important animals very carefully, so that they can wander everywhere in cheerfulness. But at the present moment, in this age of Kali, both the bull and the cow are now being slaughtered and eaten up as foodstuff by a class of men who do not know the Brahminical culture. The bull and the cow can be protected for the good of all human society simply by the spreading of Brahminical culture as the topmost perfection of all cultural affairs. By advancement of such culture, the morale of society is properly maintained, and so peace and prosperity are also attained without extraneous effort. When Brahminical culture deteriorates, the cow and bull are mistreated, and the resultant actions are prominent by the following symptoms. Translation again. The personality of religious principles, dharma, was wandering about in the form of a bull, and he met the personality of earth in the form of a cow, who appeared to grieve like a mother who had lost her child. She had tears in her eyes, and the beauty of her body was lost. Thus, Dharma questioned the earth as follows. Put this down a little bit. Down. So this chapter, how Parikṣit received the age of Kali, is now unfolding. Parikṣit Maharaj had become the ruler, emperor of the world after the departure of Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pāṇḍavas. And in the first few verses of this chapter, we were hearing how, as he traveled to different parts of his kingdom, he was being received very lovingly because people remembered his grandfathers, the Pāṇḍavas, in particular Yudhishthira Maharaj, who was the previous emperor. And we were hearing how the Pāṇḍavas were being remembered very fondly by the prajas, by the citizens, because they had ruled as righteous kings. So he was very satisfied and happy, and he was able in this way to remember the good qualities of Yudhishthira Maharaj and his brothers. So now as he is wandering, then he is meeting with a bull, and this is a whole topic which Prabhupada is giving us a little introduction in this purport, that in Vedic culture, the bull is representing dharma, the principles of religiosity, and the cow is representing Mother Earth, and how, according to Vedic civilization, because these two animals play a major role in society, they are both spiritually and materially of immense value. Vedic culture is in many ways molded around the presence and the activities of both the bull and the cow. A subject matter which today, for most people, including unfortunately most devotees, is not properly understood or not even known, and therefore therefore there is a need for those who are meant to be followers of dharma. Devotees means those who follow dharma, those who are exemplary in living according to the codes of dharma. And these codes and principles of dharma are meant to be the very foundational life, actually, of any society. It is only when we begin to appreciate or to understand some of the we could say eternal principles connected with dharma, some of the eternal sciences, actually, because dharma, the principles of dharma, they are established, they are created, they are established by the Lord Himself. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. And the Bhagavatam, this verse is explaining how dharma is not man-made, it is directly enacted by, created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead for a particular purpose. What is the purpose? The purpose is to facilitate, enable individuals to actually become self-realized and return to their original eternal position in the spiritual world. So the principles of dharma are, when properly followed, when properly understood, meant to facilitate one's actually becoming ultimately God conscious, Krishna conscious. This is this aspect is also not known or not understood by, well, totally unknown to non-devotees, and also even to devotees it is not properly understood. Dharma, yeah, part of a very important part, a very essential part of dharma is found actually both in the presence of the bull and the cow. This is also connected with the the standard and eternal sciences that make up Vedic culture or Vedic society. These sciences are generally, traditionally, they are taught within the framework of Gurukula. And they are directly related with the training of those who are meant to be the most responsible individuals within society, beginning with the Brahmanas, then the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas. Prabhupada is making reference here, as he does in so many places, about the importance of Brahminical culture. When society minimizes or does away with Brahminical culture, and Brahminical culture cannot stand, cannot be practiced without bulls and cows, then the whole society becomes totally disarrayed, totally disorganized, and people are engaged in all types of immoral, sinful activities. So there's a direct link which we have forgotten in modern day society between two of the Vedic sciences that are meant to be taught in a Varnashram college. That's one of the many reasons why Srila Prabhupada wanted us to have formal, systematic teaching, training of these four Vedic sciences. So two of them which are more easy for us to relate to and which are directly connected with what is being spoken here are the science of education and the science of economics. Every society, in every government, they have a ministry for education, ministry for economics, finances. Economic development remains today the primary, we could say, propaganda or focus of all of all countries. People are enacting various legislation and whenever there are elections, they speak about how to improve the economic condition of the citizens. Of course, this is uh, in one sense important, but it is not the all in all. It is not the all in all, and it is also totally, misunderstood in terms of what is the real economic uh, development. Uh, what is the real definition and meaning of prosperity in society. So we've spoken about this many times, how Vedic culture is based on the one of the aspects, and it's the two are actually intimately connected. The two sciences, the science of education and the science of economics. People go and receive an education today, generally, to get some kind of a degree so that they can make money. So there's an intimate connection between education and economy. So in the Vedic culture, what we fail very badly fail to understand is that the perfect and ideal educational system and economy is centered around the cows and the bull. And we see this described actually throughout the Vedic literature. When we read about the pastimes of Lord Krishna and then the Pāṇḍavas and how they were exiled, you will recall how in the last, Pāṇḍavas were exiled for how many years? 13 years. Lord Dharmachandra was exiled for, I always get, one was 13, one was 14. In any event, the last year, as we know, the last year they had to live incognito. Incognito means no one should know where they live, and if it is found, then they have to again extend another 13 years or whatever. Yeah. So in that last year incognito, where were the Pāṇḍavas? They had taken shelter of King Virat, right? And King Virat, like all kings, actually all kings, that's a main feature of a qualified Vedic king. All Vedic kings maintain cows because they know it's cows are cows and bulls. That is the formula for prosperity, for material prosperity and spiritual prosperity. And that is a formula for giving to the vast majority of citizens proper occupation. Not only proper occupation, but also proper education. It's a very interesting subject matter, which is not practically not at all discussed amongst devotees, because we are too much, we've been too much distracted by the modern ways of economics and the modern ways of modern education. But the point being, we get some glimpses. So the point I wanted to make regarding King Virat, coming back to that's in the Mahabharata, Dronacharya, as we know, who was the one who had arranged ultimately for sending the Pāṇḍavas in exile. He was always at odds with the Pāṇḍavas, and Duryodhana, what did I say? Oh, yeah, not Dronacharya. Duryodhana, correct, yeah. So Duryodhana was a staunch rival of the Pandavas. So he was definitely wanting them to again extend another 13 years in exile. So he was desperately trying to find out where they were. So he had sent all kinds of people, his spies and whatnot, in different places. And then one of the spies came back and he reported that, in the kingdom of King Virata, somehow in the last so many months, or in this last 1 year, the cow population has increased tremendously. The cow population had increased because one of the Pandavas, Sahadev, had taken care of the cows, right? The Kula was taking care of the horses. Yeah. So, so then Duryodhana, who was very intelligent, immediately became suspicious. There's something has to do with the Pandavas there, So, yeah, so the the point being that when there were qualified personalities like Sahadev, or people who actually knew about how to properly care for, maintain, and there's a whole science, a very big science, which is practically unknown or lost today in terms of breeding, um, in terms of the quality that bulls. Prabhupada mentions, for example, how the whole modern, we're totally destroying actually our cow progeny today because we have introduced artificial insemination, amongst other things. We're tampering. We're just experimenting with in so many ways. Practically every university in the world, they have agriculture department, and they do all kinds of experiments and whatnot. Totally disconnected, for most part, with what is actually written in the Shastra. So we don't know, for example, the vast majority of devotees simply don't know how there's a direct and intimate connection between education and cow protection. Because the standard was, and the standard is meant to be, that the majority of young boys, they get their education as Krishna and Balaram did in Vrindavan. Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys were not just going out every day and doing nothing. Just being with the cows and doing nothing. We get some understanding by reading these descriptions of the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And there's a whole, again, forgotten science in terms of activities, natural activities, spontaneous activities, playful activities. Who has studied the 64 arts and sciences amongst devotees? It is unknown it is not taught in, ordinary schools. One of those 64 arts and sciences is called Krishna Krida. Krishna Krida means different games that are enacted in connection with, exactly the type of activities or games that Krishna and Balaram were engaged in 5,000 years ago. Some of which are even still followed in some villages here in India. So there's a whole psychology. There's a whole psychology when when young children are allowed to be in a natural environment, and when they are allowed to be on their own in terms of um, inventing or introducing different ways of um of of doing things, or even of inventing ways. It's a whole culture. It's a whole dimension, which is uh, it's even difficult to speak about because most of us, including myself, have not had that exposure. But we can begin to understand a little bit because it is um, it is to some extent described in the pages of the Bhagavatam. Um, we don't, because we're so mm, we have been wrongly informed that education means going to school. Education means going to some um, particular building and hearing from some teacher. But education is of a different nature. Uh, there are there are two main types of education. Uh, the one which is the traditional Vedic education, as Prabhupada explains, is based on learning different subject matters that require good brain, actually. That means academic. Not everyone is meant for academics. As a matter of fact, uh, the whole system of modern education is having less and less real academic subject matters, which are generally in the field of what we call humanities, which means literature and art and languages and history, uh, philosophy, psychology. Most universities have less students taking up these subjects for the last so many. People are more into what is uh, STEM education, no? What is STEM education? Hey, you're supposed to know. Science, technology, um, math. M is mathematics, and E I forget now. Electronics, maybe. Electronics. Or engineering, possibly engineering, yeah. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So a few years ago, those in the educational field, I think this is, probably it's not only here in India. Uh, those in the educational field, they began to understand that actually there's something missing here. So they added arts. And so now there's, instead of, or in addition to STEM, they have STEAM, STE, yeah, uh, AM, yeah, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. You can look it up. When I was doing my research,
Is it maths or medicine?
Huh?
Is it mathematics or medicine?
No, mathematics.
Mathematics.
Mathematics, yeah. So in other words, like when I was a student, even then probably not that large percentage would take arts, Bachelor of Arts, because arts means humanities. That means that we have reduced, we have minimized, we've done away with humanities in terms of the educational, uh, institutions. Because of that, we can directly see and understand how people are also poor in terms of human behavior. There's a direct link. The more we train people simply in things connected with engineering or science, and when we leave out the humanities, then people's consciousness changes, their behavior changes, their ability to properly interact with one another also changes. So, in other words, this is a major subject matter, uh, but all of this, we're discussing about education, which is only one aspect, one of the sciences, but that is directly connected with economy, because the perfect economy, the most sustainable economy in the Vedic culture is agriculture. And agriculture cannot be performed without cows and bulls. Yeah. So it's amazing how when we tamper with Krishna's perfect system, then we open the doors for all kinds of calamities. I heard how some years back uh, there was, I believe it was in China. They had the government decided that we are losing too much of our crops because of you know um, insects. So they killed all the insects. Then when their whole drive for destroying different types of insects, then by doing that, well, the birds also died off because they had nothing to eat. And it brought about a whole reaction that actually it brought out, there was no production, no proper production. Mm. So when we try to do things from the mental platform without proper reference in Shastra, in other words, when we try to govern, or I mean, in our daily lives also, it's not only on the level of government. In our daily lives, because we have to govern our own lives, when we try to do things independent from what is actually ordained and given in the Shastra, means when it is disconnected with dharma, then it is a sure formula for destruction. And that is what is taking place on the planet right now. Mass destruction at all levels, and the main cause and reason is traced actually to what Parikṣit Maharaj will be observing in the pages to come here, how mother cow and father bull are mistreated, neglected, and that of course has increased on a scale beyond anyone's imagination. Yes. So these points and the many other aspects as well need to be brought out and presented and discussed actually amongst devotees Otherwise, devotees are simply not aware and carry on uh, without knowing that the more we neglect this whole subject matter, then we basically are allowing the kind of irregularities that are taking place to increase. A few minutes for some thoughts, comments, questions. Yes.
Um, you remember that there is one boy who came and have a master plan of a Vedic city,
Yes.
and he very nicely explained, as you know, also that there are about 10 or 12 areas which we have to develop for providing the proper situation for people in general.
Yes.
And anything behind that is not necessary. So he created the banking, foundations, food, health, education, cloth, infrastructure, protection, technology, energy, communications. Uh, these are these are practically the most important for people to live.
Mm.
And if anything we put energy behind that, that's causing and losing the provided provided energy coming from the natural sources, and the wasting of time, wasting of energy on that, and then people have to work more but get less peace, less prosperity in in this basic field.
Yes.
So that's, I think, first we have to understand and then have to provide such a education which shows that whatever happens now in the name of development of economy, it's cheating and cheating so many people.
Yeah.
So that was one thought for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Uh, um, whatever is not in line with the um, the knowledge, the knowledge of these different sciences uh, are, are are revealed, are given in the Shastra. So whatever we do which is not following or in keeping with that, it's a deviation. Uh, uh, Family life. We know, like in the Vedic culture, we know how, like, divorce was never unthinkable, not allowed. One married, and it was for a lifetime. Uh, and so many things in connection with family life, but because we have disconnected ourselves with the basic understanding of what family life is meant to be, so now we have, practically speaking, the very concept of family life is destroyed in the Western countries. Uh, what we call the family nucleus is practically gone. You know, people don't speak about who's your wife or who's your husband. They speak about who's your partner, because people change partners. um, that is not in keeping with the Vedic culture, to say the least. So all kinds of so this deviation from the basic standards, where has it brought us? Like in the Western, in America, it is estimated, it's probably increasing. The last figures I had heard some years back was that 50% of children who are born, 50% of children who are born in America don't know who their parents are, isn't it? Means born out of wedlock. Uh, and this and so many other um, signs are symptoms of a broken society, which, of course, in Vedic literature is described as Varna Sankara, which is directly connected with another term that is often referred to as Ugra Karma. Ugra Karma. You know what is Ugra Karma? Prabhupada translates, yeah, it's connected with over endeavoring. Prabhupada translates Ugra Karma as ferocious activities. Ferocious activities. It's like, you know, um, we build bridges, we dig up mountains, we just like, with modern technology, we destroy, you know, to put up the roads here in India, we've destroyed so many banyan trees, you know. I mean, not knowing or thinking how one banyan tree is, just one banyan tree is so valuable. We've destroyed thousands and thousands of banyan trees and so many other things as well. So, a modern day civilization is clearly, um, Prabhupada describes it as hellish. It's on a clear path of destruction, you see. And that destruction, of course, is taking place as we sit and as we talk right now, every single moment, uh, through the wars that are taking place, to airplanes that are crashing at different times, to trains that are colliding with one another. Every single day, so many lives are lost because of this modern civilization, which is based on simply trying to uh, increase our so-called material so-called material happiness and satisfaction. But doing it by
There is one little question about how did you introduce this part of Bhagavatam, because Srila Prabhupada and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur use different titles for this chapter, while Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur used the title of the Dharma and Earth Talk in the Presence of Parikṣit.
yes,
And Srila Prabhupada give the title that how Parikṣit
received the age of Kali.
invented
How he received the age of Kali.
receiving the age of Kali. So it's interesting that there are two main topics in this chapter, and Prabhupada in the title changed the focus. So it's a question that why he did it, or what is this change means for us, when both topic is very important and very basic for understanding what we do to the next generation, how we educate our children. But it
Yeah.
would be interesting.
Well, yeah. Um, this whatever topic we discuss in the Bhagavatam or any of our Vedic literatures, when we have to gain more insight on many of these topics, the more we have devotees, individuals who more systematically and deeply study the subject matter, then we can get a more all-around understanding as to why one particular, let's say, acharya emphasized this aspect, another one emphasized this aspect. I think in the context of Srila Prabhupada, who's our founder acharya, because different Vaishnava acharyas, when they write their commentaries, they write it in the context of what's happening in the world. Yeah, and it was very clear. It is very clear and still relevant today how for Srila Prabhupada, who had traveled to the Western world, then he could see, it's like, the personification of Kali Yuga and in breaking these four principles, because the principles of dharma, we refer to the four basic rules and regulations that we follow as the four pillars of dharma, right? The four pillars of dharma, which is represented by bull, but the bull are destroyed, which means that actually these four principles of dharma represent the Brahminical culture. So therefore, Prabhupada's primary focus, okay, how to re-establish, how to revive the Brahminical culture. And the Brahminical culture cannot be revived unless we reintroduce these four principles, which are connected with the first four qualities that are described by Narada Muni in the 7th canto as being fundamental qualities for human beings, 30 qualities of a human being, the first four being these four pillars of dharma, satyam, daya, tapasa, ucham. So in other words, everything begins with knowing about and following these principles, which are the basis of the Brahminical culture. When these principles are not followed, forget about having Brahminical culture, forget about having proper educational system, forget about having proper economy, forget about having proper governance within society. Forget about knowing what is the prime goal and purpose of life. So everything, the four Vedic sciences go out the window. So in the context in which Prabhupada was preaching, I think we can appreciate or understand that this is what was obvious and glaringly rampant in the Western world, and which of course was also being introduced in so many other parts of the world as well, and so that's to address the problem, the heart of the problem. It's connected with, because proper cow care, proper protection of bulls and cows will only come when people know the importance of following these four principles, which are the pillars of dharma. Yeah, good point. Hopefully, as we get, we are soon to establish our research center, Daiva Varnashram Research Center, and that's one of the reasons to bring out and facilitate that individuals, devotees, they bring out some of these important aspects to kind of bring it more in the forefront and give an opportunity to begin with our own devotees, and then people in general also to know that, hey, there's this, and now we are doing this. So therefore, yeah. Okay, we could go on, but we need to stop also. Jai Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Hare Krishna. And yes, not too far away. Master of ceremony. But you forgot